What's up, everybody? My name is MonsterDust, and today we're going to be continuing this little series of tier lists with the Platinum and Diamond tier list. As you can see, we're getting started right away with S tier. So first up, we got Nyx, and the reason I put Nyx in the first spot instead of Mordex, I know it's kind of a controversial opinion, is because blasters were very recently buffed, while gauntlets have been periodically receiving nerfs, and now Scythe has received a nerf. So I just feel that, Nyx has Scythe too, but the main difference here is the whole blasters and gauntlets thing, plus Nyx has higher dex, so the Scythe nerf doesn't really affect Nyx as much as it hurts Mordex. Next up is Mordex. He's still very good. Besides getting a couple of nerfs recently. He has incredible SIGs. He's got the two dodge read weapons. He's just inarguably still one of the best characters in the game. The nerfs hit him, but they didn't hit him hard. Hattori is in third place, and I keep Hattori here for Platinum and Diamond because she's not as good as at a tournament level anymore, but I feel like she has two weapons that are very easy to pick up. They're very easy to master, sword and spear. And for that reason alone, she's still one of the better characters in the game. Now we have Wu Shang, who is a combination of these last two characters we talked about. He's got gauntlets and he's got spear. Both very strong weapons. When you have something like gauntlets, which is very dodge read heavy, but you also have spear to fall back on, which isn't as dodge read heavy, but has a lot of very simple combos that you can incorporate his amazing SIGs into. You have a very strong character. Couple that with his 7 dex, I want to say, 8 if you go dex stance, and he's just still an incredible character. Brynn is next, and I know this is kind of weird because Axe isn't necessarily a meta weapon, but Brynn is all around one of the best characters because she is tanky, she does good damage, she's got spear to fall back on when Axe isn't working, and Axe has just received some buffs. So I believe, I've never seen a Brynn at Platinum or Diamond do poorly. I feel like she's still very good. I know putting Diana this far back might be a little controversial. She's an amazing character, don't get me wrong. It's just I feel like here in Platinum and Diamond, she's not as good as she is at tournament level. Bow is a very strong weapon. Bow is inarguably one of the best weapons in the game, but I feel like it takes a certain refinement that you just don't see here. And for that same reason, the lack of refinement in Plat and Diamond as opposed to the tournament level, I put Lord Vrax in S tier because he's still... The people who stuck with Vrax through Gold, through Platinum to Diamond are very, very good at the game. And most Vraxes that you'll see in this area of gameplay are probably gonna beat you. So, for that reason, I felt Vrax deserved an S tier spot, but because this is the level of play where you start to see people learn how to counterplay Lance, he's the last spot of S tier. So with that, we're going to be moving on to A+. And as you see, A+ is a pretty full tier. It's probably the longest list of legends I put in any single tier on this list, because there are just so many good ones and so many that work at this level of play. Ada is first up. I was going to put her lower because this is where defense starts to really matter, and she only has 3, 4 if you go defense stance. But she's got blasters and she's got spear, and she has very hard hitting SIGs. Almost all of her SIGs can kill you at orange, and I couldn't put her any lower than this because of that. Lucian has blasters, which again, were just buffed, and he has incredible SIGs on his Katars. Plus the third highest defense in the game, I want to say. He has like 7 defense if you go defense stance on him. He's very strong, very hard to kill. His strength could be higher, but his SIGs make up for that. His SIGs hit with so much force that it doesn't seem to matter that he has low strength. I felt like I should have maybe put Koji higher than this, but again, for the same reason as putting Diana right past Lord Vrax in S tier, you just don't see a lot of really, really good bow play here. So him having sword and bow, I feel like he's an incredible character. He does very good in tournament, but I couldn't put him any higher than this. Fate is not one of the greatest characters. I know Sandstorm does pretty good with her. I don't really understand her fully as a character, maybe, but I just haven't seen her do very great. I know she has Scythe, which already makes her very strong because it's one of the strongest weapons in the game, and she has Orb, which is still very strong, but I just didn't think she deserved an S tier spot. Mirage was the first Scythe character, and Mirage also has Spear, and incredibly hard-hitting SIGs, and perfectly balanced stats. I feel like right here, dead center of A+ tier is exactly where Mirage belongs. Orion is here, and I know this is just as weird as putting Vrax here, because at this level of play, like I said, people are starting to learn to counter it. Lance isn't as good as it was in the lower tiers. But the people that made it to here with Orion are very dedicated to the character, and they've learned to do more than just, side air, down air all day. I feel like the Orion players in Plat and Diamond are very, very good at the game. Orion as a character still has fantastic stats and Spear, so he deserves this spot, I feel. Core is next up, and he has gauntlets, which are very dodge read heavy. I know he doesn't have a lot of dex or speed, but it's still a dodge read weapon. It's still a very strong weapon. Plus his hard-hitting hammer and the fact that he himself cannot be hit very hard because of that huge defense. Core is a very strong, very solid character. Barraza is actually my highest level character. He's here for the same reason that Core is right next to him. He has very high defense, and he hits very hard. He has two weapons that pair well together. He has Axe, which is hard-hitting and was just buffed, and he has Blasters, which are also pretty hard-hitting, but they're mostly a string weapon that can be used for very accurate dodge reads, and also just got buffed. So Barraza, absolutely, he's moved up. He's moved up a lot. You'll notice this is the biggest difference from the last tier list. Jiro was in D, in the gold-silver tier list, because I feel that in gold and silver, he's hard to get a handle on. His SIGs have strange hitboxes. He has two weapons that, sword is pretty easy to master, but he has Scythe, which lower tiers don't handle very well, and he has pretty bad stats for what he is. But that being said, in Plat and Diamond, I have never seen a bad Jiro. Jiro is a character that requires patience to learn because of all the things I've mentioned. But once you learn those things and you know how to play Jiro, he is one of the absolute strongest characters in the game. And now finishing up A+, we have Zariel, who is here for two reasons. He has Bow, which I know doesn't work great in Plat, but he also has Gauntlets, and he has very strong stats. So Bow hinders him a little in this level of play, which is why he's at the bottom of A+, but his Gauntlets, his SIGs, and his stats absolutely make up for all that and keep him in A+. So we're going to move on. Starting up A tier, we have Ragnir. Ragnir is still an incredible character. Axe just got buffed. Katar's got... I wouldn't call it a buff or a nerf. Katar's got a slight change. There's less stun on Sidelight, I believe, and more damage on Sidelight. So the strings still all work like they did before. They do a little more damage, but don't hit as consistently. Ragnir is very strong, and he has great SIGs. I feel like he deserves this spot. Sir Roland has the highest defense in the game, and like I said, defense is very important at this level of play. So it felt a crime to put him any lower than this, especially because he has sword, and he has fantastic SIGs on sword, and his lance SIGs aren't all that bad. Neutral SIG still hits like an absolute truck. Up next we have Sentinel. Sentinel is also very tanky. He has pretty high defense, but he also has incredible speed, which couples well with his Katars and his hammer. And the SIGs on both of those are amazing. He has edgeguard SIGs just like Ragnir does. He has that down SIG on Katars that just spikes you. Will guarantee a kill on orange. Sentinel is amazing. Cross, I also have absolutely no complaints on. He's one of my favorite characters in the game, personally. He has blasters, he has gauntlets. Blasters, again, were just buffed. Gauntlets are very dodge read heavy. Both have always been solid weapons, and Cross has amazing SIGs. His edge guarding SIG, that dash off the ledge into neutral SIG, will almost always hit. I've never seen one person see that coming and like dodge it accurately, because a lot of people think they have to jump off of the ledge and they'll jump straight into it. What you have to do is drop off the ledge and dodge to the side and then jump over him to avoid being hit. Cross is just amazing. I could talk about Cross all day. I can do a whole video on Cross. He's fantastic. But we're going to move on to Scarlet, who I think really deserves this spot because of her strength and because she has access to Hammer, which is a very strong weapon overall and at this level of play. She has Lance, which hinders her a little, and she has pretty slow SIGs, which also hinder her a little, but when those SIGs connect, they hit very hard because of her 9 strength when she's on strength stance. And I believe that she belongs right here in A tier, right next to Thor, who also has Hammer, a very strong weapon. But he has Orb as well, which is still, in this level of play, it's a weird weapon, but it's a strong weapon. It has access to a couple of true combos that do pretty high damage. I believe the side light side air does like 22, I want to say. And especially on his strength, he's going to knock you pretty far with that. And he's got that beautiful, beautiful down sig on Hammer to ledge guard properly. Val is up next, and Val has very solid weapons. Val has gauntlets and sword and great SIGs. I just feel like Val has a really, really hard time killing. Val can get like 230 damage on someone before killing them, and that's an issue. She's still very good. She still has those good weapons and those good SIGs. I'm not going to put her any lower than A on any list that I make after this, but it's a problem that she has a hard time killing. Asuri is going to finish up A tier because Asuri has Katars and Sword, both very good. Katars are a heavy string weapon. Sword is kind of a string weapon, but also hits hard enough on its own that single hits will do the job and get you a kill. Her SIGs are very good. Something is keeping me from putting her any higher than this. I don't know what it is. I've seen a few Asuris lately when I play, and she's got something weird going on. Like, her SIGs hit hard, but she suffers from the same problem that Val does for some reason. She just can't kill unless she gets like a ton of damage on you. And for that reason, she's here at the bottom of A tier. And now we're moving into B+, which is going to be kind of the average Legends for this level of play. I do want to stress that this is for Plat and Diamond. This is not... Gold and Silver was last tier list. Tournament play is its own whole separate thing, because when I talk about tournament play, there's just as big of a difference between tournament play and Diamond as there is between Diamond and Gold. It's like Diamond is 2000 elo. Tournament play I'm talking about is those diamonds that are at like 2500. So, starting off for Plat and Diamond, we have Zol in B+, because he's kind of a meme. He hits super hard. He's like the heavy of this game. He hits hard, but he has low... all of his other stats are like 4, I want to say. But his strength can hit 10. So if he hits you, he hits like an absolute truck and will kill you. But he just has trouble keeping up with a lot of opponents. So I feel like he belongs right here, right in the average B+ Legends. Cassidy is wonderful. She's another one of my favorites. She's got Hammer, she's got Blasters, she's got Downlight into Neutral Sig on Hammer as a true combo, which is incredible. She has Down Sig on Blasters that can spike you. The problem is that because she does have 8 dex, 9 if you do dex stance, her other stats are pretty low. She suffers from that same problem that Zol has, where her other stats all add up to pretty low numbers. So she's average. Lin Fei is average because she does not hit very hard. She's the exact opposite of Zol. She's very fast. She can do some pretty fantastic strings and true combos, especially because she has Katars. but she doesn't hit very hard at all. If you do defense stance, which you're going to want to do to keep her alive because her defense is also very low, she only has 2 strength, and that's just not going to do a lot. Kaya is up next because Kaya, again, I talked about this last tier list. She has 2 great weapons. She has spear and she has bow, but she can't kill anything to save her life. Her strength being at 4 is just too big of an issue to overlook the weapons, because her SIGs aren't even that good. Side SIG on spear, she'll jump right over her opponent most of the time. If they walk forward, the attack doesn't hit them. And that's, I don't know. She has great weapons, but she has a lot of issues, so she's right in the middle. Ember is here purely for the fact you're going to see a lot of these types of legends lower on the list. I know I put Ada in A+, but Ada is also fantastic, has good SIGs and has good weapons. Ember is here because of her 3 defense. Her strengths do not make up for the 3 defense. They don't justify her being any higher than B+. She's just way too easy to kill for how hard it is for her to kill. She has high strength, she can kill, but she's more likely to die than your opponent is when you're playing her. Caspian is very average as a character. I know I've been throwing that word around a lot, but I mean, like, he has very evened out stats. He has a dodge read weapon and a string weapon. He has SIGs that have interesting hitboxes, but also hit pretty hard when they do hit. There's not a lot I can say about him. I feel that the bottom of B+ is where he belongs. So we're moving on now to B, and starting us off is Jala. Again, same reason as Ember. 3 defense, and her strengths don't make up for that weakness at this level of play. I love her. I love her SIGs. I love her weapons. But that doesn't make up for the defense. Artemis is here because Artemis has Scythe, and that's the only thing that put her this high. She has Scythe, but she also has Lance, which isn't that good in this level of play. She has terrible, terrible SIGs with the dumbest hitboxes that are almost never going to land, especially side SIG on Lance. If I were to make a tier list for SIGs, side SIG on Lance for Artemis would be the worst SIG in the game. Taros is after Artemis because he is the epitome of a heavy. He has good strength and good defense, and that's all that's keeping him up here, because defense is very important at this level of play. He's just too slow. His SIGs have pretty high charge time, all of them. So same problem as Zol, really, just Zol does it a little better, I feel. If he hits you, he hits like a truck, but that's only if he hits you, which probably isn't going to happen. Petra is here because her low defense makes her very easy to kill, but she's one of the only legends in the game that can truly zone your opponent. The little blast forward, the little blast in the air, when you're ledge guarding, the blast down below. Those are all very good tools for keeping the opponent away so that they can't take advantage of her low defense. But the defense is still low, and she's not as good as some of the other legends above. Queen Nai is here because she's hard to kill, but she's the slowest character in the game. If you do, I want to say it's strength stance, that's the one that takes away from speed, I believe. Her speed is 2, and that is just awful. Because of characters like Queen Nai, where one stat is just so much lower than their other stats, you're forced to use that stance. And because that limits your variety in gameplay styles, she's just always going to end up low, like this. Bodvar is, he's good. He's just not that good. I don't even really feel that he's average when we're talking about Plat and Diamond. He has Sword and he has Hammer. Both are very solid weapons, but he was the first character ever for this game, and I feel like that works as a disadvantage for him because people have the most experience with him and playing against him, and almost everything he does will be avoided. Everything he does is pretty readable. A Bodvar is probably the easiest character in the game to guess how they're going to play because he's been out so long. Sidra is here for kind of a similar reason. She was the first canon character, but that doesn't exactly work as a huge disadvantage for her as much as it does for Bodvar. But her SIGs have weird hitboxes. Neutral SIG on cannon is incredible. It's just that side SIG on cannon almost never hits. It has a very short range. Down SIG on sword has to be timed perfectly for it to hit. And her stats are very average. Nothing amazing. Nothing to, cry home about. She belongs right here. Bottom of B. Now, these next two are going to go pretty quick because there's not a lot of characters in them. But starting off C tier, we have Isaiah. I don't fully understand what the problem is with Isaiah. He should be better as a character than he is. He has cannon and blasters, both great. He's very tanky, great. Hard to kill. But his SIGs are weird. They're telegraphed. Any SIG with the little drone that has to come out first is very telegraphed. People are going to avoid it. And he just doesn't see a lot of success. Not nearly as much as you would think he would. I frankly don't know what they could do to fix him because I can't identify specific problems with him besides the telegraphed SIGs. But he needs something. He needs some kind of buff. Dusk is here for the exact same reason. Dusk has weird SIGs that don't hit a very wide range of things. Like, look at his spear. It's either you're going to make a spear shoot out of the ground in front of you, or you're going to make a spear shoot out of yourself above you. And those are two things that are very easy to read. It's just like, okay, I'm just going to approach from directly in front of you then. I'm just going to run at you and hit you with a string, and you're not going to be able to do anything because all of your spear SIGs are about, like, keeping me away, essentially. Azoth is, I want to put him a lot higher. I really do. I like Azoth as a character. He's just not that good, though, especially at this level of play. Side SIG on Axe will almost never hit. You have to know Azoth very well to get it to hit, because most of the time what happens is you fly right past the opponent, and now they have this chance to get a string or a true combo on you from behind. And that's just really not good. It doesn't work to any advantage for the character. That's one SIG. I'm complaining a lot about one SIG, but it's a pretty big hindrance on him as a character. He hits hard, but again, he has bow, which isn't very good at this level of play. I don't know. I want to put Azoth higher, but I can't. Ulgrim suffers from a similar issue. He has Axe and he has Lance, neither of which are amazing at this level. And his SIGs are very slow. Side SIG on Lance does a lot of damage, but if you look at the animation, he just moves so slow when he's doing it. And there's no point in charging his down SIG on Lance, because if you don't hit it with them in that first couple of frames, they're going to be able to just jump right over you and attack you from behind. Same issue as Azoth. He's just not that good. Thatch is here because, again, 3 defense, except unlike Jala, Ember, and Ada, there's nothing at all working to his advantage to make that 3 defense worth it, except for down SIG on blasters, just his one main edge guarding tool. Other than that, there was no reason to give this man only 3 defense. It absolutely hinders him way more than it hinders anybody else. So, but he's still got blasters, he's still got sword, so he gets to stay in C. He doesn't get moved down to the bottom tier. But now that we've mentioned it, the bottom tier, it's pretty sad to see these characters still here. Nash, I wish he was a lot better than he was. He's got Spear, which is good. He's got Hammer, which is good. It's just that low dex keeps him from being able to access a couple of true combos on Hammer. And it keeps him from being able to access a couple of true combos on Spear, frankly. He still has some that work to his advantage. It's just that almost any other hammer and any other spear character are going to be better than him. Even Dusk, who's like the worst orb character in the game. I wish he could have gotten 1 point, just 1 point taken out of something and put into Dex, and he would be a lot better. Rayman, and this makes me sad because BMG wanted him in the game for so long, but Rayman has been bad since he came out. It's been almost a year now, and because of Mordex, gauntlets have been nerfed, and sadly that does affect the lower gauntlet characters like Rayman. Rayman has essentially received a nerf because of that, but Axe has gotten a slight buff, so he's not the worst character in the game. He's just not very good. Same thing I mentioned last video, he has highly telegraphed SIGs. There's no reason to have such a long warning for his neutral SIG on Axe. I think if those little 3 golden things that fly out in front of him, whatever they are, I didn't play Rayman. If those came out when he did the attack and not right before in the charging animation, that would already fix a lot about the character. We're gonna move on to the last character. As usual, it's Yumiko. Yumiko is not good. She's at the bottom of almost every tournament tier list, which I know this isn't, like I said, it's not, but even at a lower level of play, she's not good enough to be any higher than any other character in the game. She requires a little too much setup. Both her down sig on bow and her down sig on hammer are meant to be setup moves, but people know the hitboxes, they know to avoid them. You'll almost never get someone to land in those. If you use it as an edge guarding tool, people are just going to wait till they disappear. Nothing about Yumiko is really redeemable, and that's not to say that people can't be good with Yumiko and that she can't win. It's just that she's not as likely to win the match as any other characters in the game. It's sad, but it is true. And that will wrap up the Diamond and Platinum tier list for Brawlhalla. I will be doing a tournament tier list after this. It will be very, very different. The higher tiers will look similar, but the rest of it will be pretty different because, like I said, there's just as much of a difference between Tournament and Diamond as there is between Diamond and Gold. But until then, I'm going to be recording a Q&A later today. It'll probably be too late for you to submit any questions in the comments of this before that comes out. But if you want to, you can ask and I'll answer in the comments. I am MonsterDust. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.